The Thursday, August 3rd Greenbelt Advisory Commission meeting is called to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Doug Allen. Stephanie Boucher.
Here.
Jean Hares.
Here.
Jennifer Fife.
Here.
Robert Gordon.
Here.
Jenny Brand. Siri Arbigen. John Ransberg.
Here.
Stephanie Stoffler.
Here.
And we have a quorum.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I would like to add one item to the agenda, which is an introduction of Stephanie Stauffer. So we could make a note of that on the agenda. Are there any other changes to the agenda? Does someone want to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Is there support? Support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So let's start with the introduction of Stephanie. If you want to share a bit about your background and your interest in joining the Greenbelt Commission, welcome. We're very excited to have you here.
Well, thank you, and I'm glad to be here. My background is sort of dual. I guess I come from both farming world, as I'm currently the program manager of Tillian Farm Development Center, just north of the city in Ann Arbor Township. In that role, we're actively trying to build beginning farmers' businesses with the idea of them eventually transitioning onto farmland, either in a rental or a purchase situation. So it's a really big, issue in that in terms of having available green space, and something I'm very, very interested in myself. And I'm also a sociologist with a background studying local food movements and urban agriculture and all that sort of stuff. So glad to be here.
Thanks. And how long have you been with Tillian?
Since 2014 in the fall, so it's about 3 years coming up this month. So
Great. Thanks. Well, welcome, Stephanie. We're very glad to have you here.
thank you.
The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. So why don't we take a minute or two to review the minutes from the last meeting? Everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Does someone want to make a motion to approve? Are there any changes?
I move that we vote to approve the minutes.
Support?
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is public commentary. And we do see a member of the public here. Okay, great. So there are there's no members of the public that are going to speak at this time. Next up is special presentations, and we don't have any for this meeting. The next item on the agenda is old business, and we don't currently have any old business. The next item is new business, and first up on that item is election of officers. So I'm going to make a call for nominations for the election of officers. We have 2 positions available. Currently, I'm sitting in as acting chair since Shannon Brines is termed out as chair, and I was previously or am currently vice chair. So does someone want to make a motion for officers?
Sure. I move that John Ransberg be vice chair. be nominated. There we go. I nominate him for vice chair.
Support? I'm
Support.
seconding. Or you can. Okay, are there any other nominations for vice chair? Seeing none, let's make a vote. All those in favor for John Ramsberg as vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Congratulations, John.
Well, thank you.
Are there any nominations for the chair position?
I would like to nominate Jennifer Fike for the chair position.
Is there a second? Okay, Julie? Are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of me serving as chair of the Greenbelt Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I am officially the chair. Thank you all.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It was a tough race.
Next up, under new business, is a staff update from Ruth.
Hello, I have a couple of updates. Can you hear me?
Yep.
First of all, we submitted the pre-proposal for the RCPP back in April, and we were in fact invited back to submit a full proposal. So I'm here to give some information about that and to ask for a recommendation for City Council to approve us putting in the full proposal for that.
Ruth, if you wouldn't mind, just a brief background on the RCPP for Stephanie.
Oh, sure. So this is the Regional Conservation Partnership Program. It's by NRCS, and it would be a 5-year program where the city of Ann Arbor, through the Greenbelt program, would be the lead. And there are several partners who have agreed to participate, and among them is the Southeast Michigan Land Conservancy, Legacy Land Conservancy, the county, Scioto Township, Augusta Township, and Ann Arbor Township. The Greenbelt has proposed that we would put $1 million towards the purchase of conservation easements, which would be matched by another $1 million by NRCS. In addition, the match that we would provide is $40,000 in due diligence and $30,000 in administration and in-kind services. So with all the partners involved, we're asking for $3.9 million from NRCS, which is really tremendous, and we're really hoping that we're going to get it. There's a really good chance that the proposal will be pushed back to $1 to $2 million, but at this point we're asking what we feel that that we really could use for that program.
And
So-
just to interrupt for just 1 second, wanted to mention that the Legacy Land Conservancy currently has an RCPP funding from NRCS, of which we're a partner with their grant.
Correct, yes. And the difference between that one and the one that we're proposing is that the geographic area would complement it. So right now with the 2017 RCPP application, where the Greenbelt is one of the contributing partners and the Legacy Land Conservancy is the lead, it's only a portion of the Greenbelt district, where this RCPP would cover the rest of the Greenbelt district in addition to all of Washtenaw County that is also not included in the original RCPP. Other than that, the terms would be fairly similar. The 2017 RCPP is a little bit more involved in terms that there's more outreach and also an EQIP component, which the Greenbelt is not part of. So for
And
that
will you
one,
explain what the acronym for EQIP is?
oh sure, it's the, oh boy, if I remember that.
Environmental Quality.
Quality Incentive Program.
Right.
That is primarily for conservation practices where the landowner directly gets a contribution from NRCS. The difference between that and the ASEP ALE, which is Agricultural Conservation Easement Program, Agricultural Land Easements Program, that we are requesting in this RCPP is that the money would come to us and it would provide up to 50% of the purchase price of these easements, that we would then purchase the easement, and so the money would go directly to us that then we would provide to the landowner. So at this point, are there
So
any other
it's a great way
questions?
for us to leverage the funds that we have in the Greenbelt program through the millage to preserve more land through this federal program.
Correct. And the way the details would work is that we would still have to put in the applications for each individual properties, very similar to what we're doing now, because we have been very successful in getting ASAP ALE funding. But the difference here would be right now, we are competing with the entire state. At that point, if we get funded through the RCPP, we would only be competing within the RCPP. So that's a real advantage. And we would have the security of funding over these 5 years, where at this point, all we can tell a landowner is that we're putting in for the money and we're not sure if we're going to get it. At that point, if we get it, we know for the next 5 years we're going to have this funding source. So it's a really huge advantage when talking to landowners about these. Any other questions?
Thanks, Ruth. Is there a motion?
I have a motion related to that, so this has to go to city council, right, for approval to go forward with the full proposal?
Correct. And the deadline for the submission of the full proposal is September 7th.
Okay.
So we have about a month.
So I'd like to move that we recommend approval of full proposal application to USDA NRCS fiscal year 2018 Regional Conservation Partnership Program in partnership with Washtenaw County Legacy Land Conservancy and others to secure funding to complete USDA NRCS Agricultural Conservation Easement Program purchases of conservation easements.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Any more discussion?
I just have a clarifying question. Would it be helpful to you to get it on the 10th agenda, or is the second meeting?
Right now, we're planning for the August 21st agenda,
Okay,
and that's
just
fine.
wanted to make
Yep.
sure you were comfortable with that
Yeah.
deadline, otherwise I'd be happy to push to get it.
Okay. Yeah, it should be fine. I'm hoping.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Ruth. Next up, under staff update is,
Okay, good. No, all right.
is
I was gonna say.
a projects update.
Right, so the first project update is for the Drake North project. That was approved by City Council for purchase of a conservation easement by the Greenbelt program with ASAP funds on May 1st. Since then, we've actually had an update. The county has agreed to contribute $88,250.
So again, leveraging more Greenbelt funds with the county now contributing.
Correct, yep, so, which is 25% of the fair market value of this easement, so which is wonderful news. This brings the city's share to $122,630, which is approximately 35% of the fair market value. And we would need a GAC recommendation to enter into a participation agreement with the county for this new updated project.
Funny you should mention. With respect to that, move to recommend participation agreement with the Washtenaw County Parks and Recreation for the purchase of development rights on the Donald H. Drake Trust North property in Lodi Township, and appropriate funds not to exceed $315,117 from the Open Space and Parkland Preservation Millage.
Is there support?
Support.
Jean? Thank you, Jean. Is there further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, motion carries. Great, thanks, Ruth.
Yep. And just a couple other quick updates. Gunther closed on July 14th, which was almost 250 acres of conservation easements in Lodi Township. So at this point, the Greenbelt program has helped to protect more than 5,000 acres.
Woohoo, that's great.
And we had a wonderful Greenbelt intern over the summer, Kriya Kay, whose last day was Monday, July 31st, so which is kind of sad, but she did a wonderful job for us. She put together a communication plan that we're going to put through the approval process for the Greenbelt Advisory Commission in short order, and she also helped with GIS work and was just a wonderful addition to our team for a short time. She was a University of Michigan graduate student, so already experienced in putting together communication plans for other organizations, so great addition, great work.
Great. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next on the agenda is next agenda items. Does anybody have anything that they would like to talk about for the next meeting or have on the agenda? All right, and we can always add them as people see fit. The next item on the agenda is closed session to discuss land acquisition. So for this, we have a roll call vote.
Doug Allen, Stephanie Butchie,
Yes.
Jean Karen,
Yes.
Jennifer Fike,
Yes.
Robert Gordon,
Yes.
Julie Grand,
Yes.
Siri Abarjan, John Ramsberg,
Yes.
Stephanie Stauffer.
Yes.
So now we're going to go into another room with the door closed. But thanks for joining us.
letter out at my.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I was thinking my lunch. I didn't
So
know
your
that.
farm is right next to Tilton?
It's into
Or
it.
it's in Tilton?
Yeah, like the first greenhouse, the
Okay.
front part of it is shared between everybody and the back side is like my hoop house and
Okay.
the field right next to it. Like behind it is mine, but then there's maybe 3 or 4 people sharing that up front portion. And then there's like a B parcel that's technically a separate tract. And then, yeah, there's somebody that has like chickens in the pasture. So yeah, it's a 44 acre property row.
Can we have a roll call, please? Can we have a roll call to go back into open session, please? Thanks.
Doug Allen,
Here.
Stephanie Buttry,
Yes.
Jean Cares,
Yes.
Jennifer Fike,
Yes.
Robert Gordon,
Yes.
Julie Grand,
Yes.
Siri Arbergen, John Ramsberg,
Yes.
Stephanie Stauffer.
Yes.
Okay, are there any motions from the closed session?
Yes, I have a motion. I motion to recommend city acquisition of a conservation easement on the property identified in application ID 2017-01, approval of a participation agreement with Washtenaw County Parks and Recreation, and approval of the contribution of funds not to exceed $92,000 from the Open Space and Parkland Preservation Millage.
Is there support?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there another motion?
Indeed, there is. I'd move to recommend city participation with the Ann Arbor Township in the acquisition of a conservation easement on a property identified in application ID 2017-07, and approval of the contribution of funds not to exceed $242,500 from the Open Space and Parkland Preservation Millage.
Is there support?
Support?
Thank you, Stephanie. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is reports from commission committees. And the first committee is the Communications Committee. John, is there anything to report from the Communications Committee?
As Ruth said earlier, Ruth Correa just did a tremendous job as our communications intern for the summer. She produced a communications plan that I think is going to be forwarded to us collectively and that we'll approve. She left a bunch of actionable items, some of which the subcommittee is going to be working on over the next several weeks and months.
And in fact, we hope to have CREA come and give us a little summary of the communications plan, probably not in September, but October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, thanks.
Great, thanks. And then the Executive Committee, I can report on that. We met recently to talk about the agenda for today's meeting and also to discuss upcoming projects. We are looking for people to join the Executive Committee, so please convey your interest in joining us at the Executive Committee. We tend to meet about a week and a half prior to this meeting in an afternoon that fits everybody's schedule for about an hour. So you can express your interest now if you so desire, or at another time. But typically what happens is that the chair and the vice chair meet with Ruth to talk about the agenda and the items that are going to be going onto the agenda along with upcoming projects. So that's the time requirement for that. Anything else you want to add, John, about the Executive Committee?
No.
Okay. The last item on the agenda is adjournment. Does someone want to make a motion?
So moved.
Support?
Support?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, everybody.